Welcome back to Enjoying the Word. We're thinking about aspects of application. This is the kind of final phase of the Bible study process. We've thought about the fact that we can't come to the Bible thinking, it's all about me, and miss the original setting and context. It's much richer when we understand it, and we will avoid error if we understand it first. But we also can't go to the opposite extreme and say, well, it's not about me, it's all ancient history. No, it is written for our instruction, okay, for our encouragement. But if we're going to get application right, I think this is really critical. It is about Him. You see, here's the thing that sometimes happens. When we're thinking about the early phases, the looking and the learning, the digging into the text, maybe at that stage we will get the instruction, this is actually about God. It's about revealing Jesus. It's not really a basic instructions before leaving earth kind of a concept. The Bible is ultimately a revelation of God's heart to us in the person of Jesus Christ. That's really important, but we mustn't leave that idea back at the level of our, if you like, interpretation. We do need it there. We need to see it's about Him. But when we come to application, the danger is if we don't flag it again at this point, then we can easily switch into thinking, all right, now, what does this mean to me? What difference does this make in my life? And the focus can shift right back to ourselves. I want to keep the focus on Him, even at the level of application. So we're looking initially to see what's there and how it's revealing God's character to us. Are we seeing Jesus being predicted, or is He actually on the page? All that kind of stuff. So we look and we see, and it's very theocentric, very God-focused. And then we need to learn, what does it mean? Because it was given as a revelation of Him. And then we're coming to this, loving and living in response to Him. We've got to keep God right at the center of our focus, even at this stage in the process, if we are going to rightly handle the word of truth. So it is about Him. Okay, so let's just take a key passage just for a couple of minutes. This is really significant stuff. John chapter 5. John 5, Jesus healed a man on the Sabbath. It created a stir. The authorities came against Him, and Jesus kind of has to defend Himself against their accusations. And so He begins by defending Himself with a really complex presentation of life and judgment and the Father and the Son. And then He switches to talking about, in much more first-person terms, about Himself and about them. Those people stood in front of Him. He starts saying you, and there's a richness in terms of this section here. He's calling for His witnesses, saying, I've got a witness, and the witness that He has ultimately is the Father. And so He says, the Father who sent me has Himself borne witness about me. But there's a problem for these authority figures in Jerusalem. He says, His voice you've never heard, His form you have never seen. You do not have His word abiding in you, for you do not believe the one whom He has sent. And they would be thinking at this point, what are you talking about? We've never heard His voice, and we've never seen His form, and we don't have His word abiding in us. This is bizarre. Do not have His word abiding in you? We search the scriptures. We study the Bible. We are the Bible experts. And so Jesus addresses that thought that they would be having in verse 39. You search the scriptures because you think that in them you have eternal life. It is they that bear witness about me. Yet you refuse to come to me that you may have life. You see, the Bible is about Him. And here Jesus is speaking to these religious leaders, these experts in the law, standing in front of Him, accusing Him and wanting to put Him to death. And He says, yeah, you are in the scrolls. I mean, your nose is in the scrolls day after day. You are diligently studying the scriptures, but what you're looking for is the wrong thing. You're looking for points of application. That's really what He's saying. You think that in them you have eternal life. Now, I don't think they were purely practical in that. There was a sense in which they wanted to know what they must do in order to achieve eternal life, in order to have what they were craving. And Jesus is saying you're skimming over that page, just devouring the kind of practical details, trying to make sure you don't miss a single thing that could end up with you losing your, eternal life status or whatever. But he says you're missing the thing that's there on the page, which is me. It's there to reveal me to you. You should be looking at me and recognizing me and loving me and receiving me and worshiping me. And yet they were refusing to come to Jesus to find life, even though their whole Bible was pointing to Jesus. This is an applicational point, and it's a point that we need to take on board. We shouldn't get to the application stage of our Bible study and switch off our theological minds. That's not the best way to put it. We shouldn't get to the applicational stage and start looking for things to do and focusing on ourselves and thinking, is this relevant to me? Where's the instruction for me? No, we should be still looking for him, because application at its core is not about how we live and what we do. At its core, it's about the love response of our hearts to the person being revealed to us in the text. And so wherever you are in the Bible, as you study it, of course you need to look and you need to learn and you need to see how it's revealing God to you, perhaps revealing the person of Jesus Christ, the ultimate revelation of God. And then you need to think, okay, how am I supposed to respond to him? Don't jump to how am I supposed to live. See your own heart response. That's the critical next step in the Bible study process.